Hey everybody, welcome back to Straub Customs, and today we're not working on the truck, we're going to take a look at some wagons. One of my favorite things to build in the garage is lowrider wagons. From the smallest all the way up to the biggest ones. I've got a couple in the process of being made. I've got a couple display models. And today we're going to build this one. I brought you back in the garage because it's a little windy and bright outside. So today we're going to be working on this 14-inch one, making it look kind of similar like this. So a little backstory on why I'm not working on the truck right now and I'm jumping onto a wagon is a local mini trucker got hit by a drunk driver and his truck was totaled. So they're going to have a car show and raffle, and I'm going to donate this to the raffle to try to build up some funds for his medical bills. So let's jump right into stripping it down. We're going to need a flathead and a 3/8 wrench. In order to get the caps off, you just kind of pry that off. A lot of the times these just fall right off, and you remove it. Now that everything's stripped down, we can start working on the frame. We're going to need a back bar and 2 legs for the wheels to bolt onto. I'm going to be making this all out of 1-inch strap. I got the pieces cut out. They're going to go on just like that. We'll get those tacked together after we get the holes mounted to keep it secure. Using the original hardware, I got the bottom mounted on. Now we're going to tack in the legs one at a time. With the long center section, we're going to drill out the bolt hole, but not cut off any excess just yet. So we're going to get the hole right here. Hasn't been welded yet. I got the hole drilled and bolted up with the original hardware up front. Now we're going to get a tack into this so I can get it taken off and welded up. So this is what we have tacked together. We're going to get it welded up, and then we're going to get the holes drilled for the wheels after we get the height. In order to find the right height, I got a couple of shims. We're going to set those under it. Put the wheel up against there. And that'll give us our ride height to mark the wheel hole. Got the holes drilled out. Now I'm running 1/4x20 bolts through it. I got them mounted on each side. That way I can put that on. And then we'll hold this up against it and mark a line on where to cut. The wheels are bolted onto the back and it's all done. We're going to make the front axle and pivot point. With that, the original front axle is a little too small, so we have to make one that's 8.5 inches. And then from a hole saw, I've got a couple scraps out of it that I shaved one down, and it's going to be welded onto it so that it'll make the front pivot point. Now that I got the first part of the axle done, the next part is going to be the uprights. But before we can do that, we've got to make this slanted portion and line it up. So I've got the bucket mounted so that we can find out roughly where to make the line. That looks good. Now we're going to get it bent upwards right there. I've got you over in a dirtier part of my garage. Now that I got it mounted up to the vise and got it nice and level, I'm going to bend it just ever so slightly. This bend doesn't really matter. It's your next bend that's going to make more sense. That looks good. So here's why the first bend doesn't matter, but the second bend does. The first bend is just to get you angled up. The second bend is going to be right where the front axle meets the bottom. So we're going to put a line there. And on that line, it's going to be bent flat to match the bottom rail. Alright, back over to the vise here, and we need to bend this section to match this section, so it has to come up. A little bit more. That looks fine. Alright, I got it back over here and set up into place. This top bar is now level with the bottom bar. The easiest way I found to put these on and know where to make the hole, you kind of turn it like that, center it up. That way you still have just a little bit of a gap. Go ahead and make a dot. And also, while it's exactly right there, make a line, and I'll show you why in a second. But then you're going to come down on this side and do the same thing. Keep the dot there, make a line. So it should look like that. So now we're just going to take a piece of scrap, connect those dots. Roughly. And that's where we're going to cut it off. Now that it's at a more manageable piece, we're going to go ahead and drill that hole. I got a little piece cut out of the 1-inch strap, and I'm going to get it welded on at a 90-degree angle at the end right here. I'll show you what that's for in just a second. We're getting to the end now. Now that the front's mounted up, we need a place to mount the bar. So that piece of scrap I had earlier will do just fine. I'm going to cut it in half and weld it on each side, and then we'll get this mounted up. I got the tabs cut and drilled. We're going to get those welded on. I got the handle supported over here. And then next we're going to work on mounting the front wheels. To get the front two wheels mounted, I've got 2 holes for cotter pins. We're going to slide on some washers. We're going to slide on the wheels. We're going to slide 2 more washers on and drop 2 cotter pins in. And we'll slide it all back. Now we know where to drill 2 more holes for cotter pins. Right there. And right there. We'll get those drilled out, cotter pins put in, and the front end will be done. And just like that, you have a display-sized lowrider wagon. So now that we've got it completely done, we're going to get it stripped down and ready for paint. So I got my truck pulled out a little bit so I can use it as a workbench. I may have jumped the gun a little bit and painted the frame and the front axle. I just used this truck bed coating. I sanded it down and gave it a couple sprays. Next we're going to start working on the bucket part. This is kind of an raised enamel, so we need to sand all that flat and get the gloss off of this before we paint it. So one side of this is taking a little bit longer, as you can see, because it was a little bit more raised than the other side. But we're just getting a good scuff on it with some sandpaper and some sanding blocks. And then once we get it all scuffed down, we're going to spray a base coat of silver. We're just here over at my paint booth, and we're going to get a couple coats of silver on it. After a few coats, we'll start laying down some tape. Now that the silver base coat is dry, I've got some 1/16, some 1/8, and some 1/4 inch tape. I'm going to start laying down some lines. I'm going to start with the 1/8 inch tape. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just going to kind of come up, down, and around. We'll see how it goes. I laid down a couple lines, tried to get them matching on each side. Not too bad. I'm going to go in here with some lace, and then the outside is going to be a different color. So while I'm waiting for paint to dry, let's get this put together. We're going to get the front wheels put on. Cotter pin. There's the other cotter pin. I'm going to get those bent around and then we'll come right back. Okay, I got those cotter pins bent around. Now we're going to throw the front axle onto the frame. You want it snug but not too tight. And then we'll get the back wheels thrown on. We'll get those screwed down. We'll tighten those up in just a second. And then we'll get the handle put on. And now it's ready for the bucket to go on. So the camera wasn't rolling when I was doing this arts and crafts, and I got the center section all laced out. This is the lace I'm going with, kind of a floral. It's got the inside masked off, and it's got kind of a bluish black base coat right now, and then I'm going to hit it with a top coat. So this is what it looks like after I pulled the masking tape off. The lace on the side, the silver stripe. It's got a color shift from the blue, green, purple. If you look down that side, it's purple to blue to green. It's this stuff right here. I think it turned out pretty good. The camera's kind of hard to pick it up. So once this is fully dry, we're going to get it put back onto the wagon frame, and then I'll give you another look. Alright, here it is all put together. Not sure if anyone else caught it before me, but the front axle was on backwards. So I got that switched around. You got the lace going down the side. The color shift looks pretty good. Let's get something done with the inside of the bucket. So I want to get something put on the inside to hide the bolts. So I cut out me a piece of wood. It's got some sort of laminate on the other side. We're going to get some of this blanket cut out. And I'd say it looks pretty close, so this will do. We're going to line up some of the pattern and get it cut out and glued on. Usually make the stripes go this way, just kind of breaks it up, makes it look like a seat. But I think on this one, I'm going to try to get it to go this way and have these two white lines kind of mimic the two silver lines on that, and they'll run down each side. Alright, I got that all done up. Let's see what it looks like. Now that it's fully done, let's get it taken out into the sun and see if we can get a glimpse of the paint job. And just like that, you have a cool little display for your car show ride. It is 18 inches long now, and it started out as 14 inches long. I would like to remind everyone, do not drink and drive. There is always someone you can call. So that's going to do it for this video. Stay tuned. We're going to build a bigger one in the future that'll hold around 200 pounds, full-grown adult, or a cooler full of drinks. Like, comment, and subscribe. Catch you in the next one.